and gentlemen, welcome to Wine Talks. I am Gilles Almeida, aka the Great Lebowski, and today we're going to go to the most southwestern country in Europe, the land of surf and sardines. We are going to go to Portugal. Today we have Conde Anadia Reseva 2019. This is a white blend from that particular region that encompasses great varieties like Cruzado, Malta, Tiafina that you can also find up north in the Douro, and of course, Uva Gão, not to be forgotten. So this is a wine region roughly 80 kilometers south of the Douro in the north center of Portugal. It's basically a plateau encompassed between two mountain ranges. So Serra do Caramulo to the west, Serra da Estrela to the east. It has very rich granite soils, which allows more drainage. That means that the water will go deeper in the ground. All the nutrients will also go deeper into the ground, and this forces the roots of the vines to dig deeper in order to feed themselves. They have to compete with local weeds and other local crops as well, forcing them to become tougher. They start to develop more tolerance to rot, for instance, to underground heat. The drainage also helps relieve the vines from potential diseases that could affect their performances. Granite, however, does have a negative side to it. It means lower yields. However, if you plant lesser vines in the region, those lesser yields can actually be very advantageous. I have no script and I didn't practice before I started. It can be very good for the vines because it means there's less nutrients being divided through each little tiny grape, and that results in a richer wine as well. Mountain areas you have to take into account. There's a lot of rocks as well on the surfaces. Rocks are very important as well because they draw heat and they radiate it throughout the vines, allowing for more ripeness in the eventual final product. So without further ado, I'm about to put my sunglasses indoors because you got to live the game. Yeah. And I'm about to pour some on my glass. So pull out them corks and grab onto them wine glasses. We about to taste some wine. So right now we can tell through the color of the wine, it's not as bright and deep and as golden as the Renaissance from the Silvana from the first episode, but I would still call this a medium golden color, maybe medium straw yellow. We're gonna utilize the same methods that we did in the last episode. So the bleak method, balance, length, intensity, and complexity. I'm gonna first sniff the wine from afar to determine its intensity, and then we're gonna see if we can the texture and aroma, certain flavor profiles, and then we're gonna taste it in order to see if we can actually verify everything on the palate. So let's get it on. So let's see what we have here. A lot of peachiness, stone fruit components in the aroma of the wine. Very discreet nuances of butter. That's actually very good that you can really feel those flavors off the bat. It's quite an outspoken wine, I have to say. A little bit of brioche as well. You can get a lot out of this wine just by sipping it from afar. So without further ado, I'm going to stick my nose in it. But first I'm going to swirl it around to release more aromas. Look how fancy it is. Yes. Now we're going to stick my nose into it and really get a nice grip of what's inside this glass. Let's go. Indeed, a lot of peachy stone fruit components. Which is very typical of Cruzado and Malta Tiafina, specifically when they get to ripen a lot. I'm assuming Uva Gão was utilized mostly to bring a little bit of structure into the blend. Definitely brioche and toast. Again, this wine actually fermented for 12 months and aged for 12 months in no vats in order to bring those components into it. One thing about the Bell, actually, specifically the white wines, originally they were very full-bodied, very micro-oxidate, so they were utilizing a lot of old vats in order to accomplish that, if you will. They were very exaggerated, and it masked actually a lot of the natural components that the wine already had. So for a while, it was seen, the wines in the entirety of that region, they were considered the ugly duckling of Portuguese winemaking for a long time. Until Portugal finally joined the European Union, and even by 1979, when Portugal became a democracy, they were already working closer with the European Union, and they were imposed certain changes. And ever since those changes occurred, the wines were actually able to really express themselves, to really show what they were all about. They weren't just full body, over the top white wines mastered in butterscotch and all that. You could actually feel freshness. You could feel something else. And step by step, the Down's reputation it went from being the ugly duckling to the Portuguese Burgundy. It's Burgundy in Portugal. It's quite astonishing stuff. In fact, to this day, if you find Down in the label, that is 100% guaranteed quality. So let's taste the wine and see if that quality is indeed there. Oh, that packs a lot of punch. So very long length. Pardon me, I didn't pronounce that one. It's quite the doozy. That's why I stuttered a little bit. But quite a long finish. I still feel a little bit of butter, specifically the toast, the brioche, the roasted almonds. A little bit of the peachy qualities that the wine has to bring. It still lingers in the palate, which is very good. Definitely complex because of the winemaking techniques used here, like I mentioned before. Barrel fermentation, aging in barrels. But the thing about this wine, and I'm going to give it one more sip just to kind of enjoy it a little bit. This is quite good, I must say. Somewhat of a creamy texture, but very topped off with very rich minerality. It feels like a mini Marceau, almost. Like a mini Marceau, or maybe even a mini Pouilly Fussé. It feels like Burgundy, it tastes like Burgundy, it's not Burgundy, it's the Down. And I have to say this is quite the doozy. It really is. Complexity checks because of all the winemaking techniques mentioned before. What really ties it together is how they balanced all these secondary flavors like the toast, like the butteriness, the creaminess, and they really connected very well with the primary flavors, the peachiness. There's also a little bit of slate and green apples as well, but they're very, very discreet, maybe ripe apples. And it ties very well together with all of that, and the minerality just puts this wine on a whole different level. So balance, definitely. Length, definitely there. It still sticks on the palate. Intensity, as we saw before, I was already getting so many flavors just by sniffing it from afar. It's definitely there. Complexity, there's so much going on here. This is definitely a phenomenal wine. So with this said, ladies and gentlemen, I already went a little bit over time. The Down Conde Anadia. Try it. It's made actually in an 18th century palace in Mangualde in Viseu. Completely fortified palace. I mean, if you ever had the chance to visit the place, go for it. It's quite an experience. With this said, ladies and gentlemen, one more thing before I sign off. In terms of wine, in terms of everything, like what you like. Don't be a douchebag if you don't agree with somebody else. Just enjoy the little things in life like wine. It's supposed to be uncomplicated, fun. It's supposed to be a conversation starter. So, just like what you like, man. With this said, I am the Great Lebowski, signing off. Bye-bye now.